Our top focus this morning is on the drone terror that continues in Jammu. 3 days, 5 drones have been spotted, and in the latest security scare, another drone has been spotted in Jammu. This drone was spotted from the Ratnachak military base as well as from Kunjwani in the early hours of Tuesday. It's being investigated whether 2 different drones were spotted or if it was the same drone circling in the entire area and spotted at 2 locations. This drone, however, couldn't be traced after some time. This comes as 2 drones were in fact spotted in the wee hours of Monday, and alert army jawans had fired 20 to 30 rounds on the drone, thwarting what seemed to be a major threat. In the Jammu Air Base attack case, the one that happened on Sunday, the probe has been handed over to the National Investigation Agency, which has been on the ground collecting evidence for the last 2 days. Preliminary investigation suggests that the payload carried by the 2 drones indicates it's a cocktail of chemicals, including RDX, which may have been used. RDX, remember, is not available in India. It's sourced from Pakistan by terrorists. It's suspected that a trained hand of the ISI or the Pakistan army could have perpetrated this attack. Delhi Police's anti-terror team is also left for Jammu to probe the incident. Let's take this across to Sunilji Bhatt. He's joining us live from the Sunjwa military station in Jammu. Sunilji, where you're standing, a drone, we understand, was in fact spotted early this morning. Any information that, we've picked up about these drones' movement, the fact that this morning also several military bases reported seeing these drones?
Akshita, I could not hear your question properly, but right now I am in Kunjwani area of Jammu, and this is Jammu-Pathankot highway. And on both sides of this highway, important army camps are located. On this side also there is an army camp, and on the other side of the road is also an army camp. So between 1 and 4 a.m. tonight, there were drones which were spotted. Now it's not clear that whether it was 1 drone or 3 different drones, because drones have been spotted at 3 army camps in Kunjwani, Sunjwa area, in Ratnachak, in Kaluchak. So it's a matter of investigation. But Akshita, it's happening for the 3rd time, and in 3 days that drone activity has been spotted. And on the first occasion we have seen that Air Force station in Jammu was targeted, and there were 2 blasts inside the Air Force station which were carried out by using a drone. So clearly it's a matter of huge concern here. This is Jammu-Pathankot highway, which links Jammu and Kashmir with the rest of the country. And there you can see there is another army camp which is located there. My camera person is showing you the pictures. So security has been tightened all across Jammu and Kashmir. High alert has already been sounded, but still drone activity has been witnessed again. And this time again in the wee hours today, one in Sunjwa military area, another in Kunjwani area, and third in Ratnachak, Kaluchak military station area. So the security forces so far are tight-lipped. We spoke to many officials. They are trying to get more details of the latest incident. But Akshita, clearly now the threat is from the sky. The terror threat is from the sky. So investigating agencies are taking this matter very seriously. And now, as far as the Air Force Station attack case is concerned, the Ministry of Home Affairs has handed over the probe to the NIA, and a special NIA team is going to arrive from New Delhi in Jammu shortly to assist the local NIA team in the investigation. And already you can see here that there is large movement of troops on the Jammu-Pathankot highway. So clearly, Akshita, there is tension here, but the security forces are saying that the security alarm has been sounded all across Jammu and Kashmir, and they are trying to get to the bottom of this entire conspiracy.
All right, Sunilji, thank you for getting us that ground report. Very worrying that there's been so much drone activity spotted in the last few days. Since that attack that happened to the Jammu Air Base, there have been 5 drones, at least 5, that have been spotted at military establishments across Jammu. And here's an update in the Sunday drone blast case. The Delhi Police's anti-terror team has also left for Jammu. They're going to be a part of the investigation. Remember that the NIA has already taken over the case. They've formally taken over the investigation into the twin blasts that rocked the Air Force base in Jammu on Sunday. And the fact that the NIA is looking into this, you're also going to be seeing the Delhi Police's anti-terror team reaching Jammu today, and they're going to be helping in the investigation as well to find out exactly who is operating the drone that dropped those bombs in the airbase. So this is another big update that's coming in on the investigation. From 2 days on, remember that an NIA team was already there in Jammu. They've been collecting evidence. The investigation has formally been handed over to them. So they're going to be looking into exactly what, who was the perpetrator of this particular attack, and the information that we also have from the remnants of that blast. But this is the first time that drone-mounted IEDs have been used in India to target an IAF base. Drones give terrorists and their sponsors a major edge: plausible deniability, the standoff attack, low radar signature, and virtually impossible to detect. Terrorists have used drones in places like Syria, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. But now there's a clear and present danger even in India. Shivarur and Abhishek Balla get you more.
Tiny little carriers of terror, with nothing but the wind beneath their little rotors. They've signaled a new nightmare for Indian security. We've long been in the age of military drones, but it's the most simple of these unmanned air machines. Tiny little hobby quadcopters that are now the compellers of India's sleepless nights. The monster question: can India stop mini drone warfare, or are we doomed to be overwhelmed? The bad news first: there's no blanket solution, and the literally miniature size of the threat means there's never going to be 100% defense against it. A comprehensive approach is going to be necessary. First things first, traditional air defense radars at our military stations and airports are programmed for large targets like aircraft, helicopters, and bigger drones. If they're calibrated to detect small hobby drones, even birds would set off radar alarms, overwhelming the system and causing chaos and confusion. Apart from sanitization of areas around sensitive installations, specialized equipment does exist to counter drones in flight. But these again are hit or miss, with no guarantee of full protection. As you can imagine, the Indian Air Force and Bureau of Civil Aviation are scrambling to address the threat to installations. Most technologies, including anti-drone jammers and systems, are deployed in the terminal stage of a rogue drone's flight path, the last 100 meters or so, when there's very little reaction time. It would therefore be hard for a defense system to precisely identify a rogue drone's vulnerabilities and then deploy countermeasures. India's own DRDO says that its anti-drone device can bring down micro-drones at a distance of up to 3 kilometers and use lasers to target them from distances of over 1 kilometer away. Another security force operating under the Home Ministry recently imported a high-powered electromagnetic system, which zaps drones with an electromagnetic pulse, causing them to crash. But these systems could not be deployed at airports because of the risk to incoming aircraft. So you begin to see the complications in anti-drone defense. The outlook remains unfortunately bleak. Many existing countermeasures will be powerless against a swarm attack, a pack of drones flying into their targets from multiple directions. The next big scare began in Jammu, for which there are few answers yet. With Sandeep Unithan in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Big update expected in the Maharashtra extortion racket case today. Former Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh has been summoned by the Enforcement Directorate in the Hafta Gate case. This comes after he skipped the first summon that was issued on Saturday. The Enforcement Directorate has claimed to have found clinching evidence to nail Deshmukh in the extortion case. The probe agency is alleged that former Assistant Police Inspector Sachin Vaze collected 4.7 crore rupees from orchestra bars in Mumbai. A portion of the money extorted was routed to Delhi-based shell firms, only to be diverted to a trust owned by Deshmukh. Remember that Deshmukh's personal secretary Sanjeev Bulande and personal assistant Kundan Shinde are currently in ED custody till July 1st. Saurabh Bhaktania is joining us live from Mumbai with more details on this. Saurabh, any update on whether finally Anil Deshmukh is going to appear before the ED today?
Well, Akshita, the suspense still remains that whether Maharashtra's former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh will be going to appear before the ED officials or not. But before that, the team of advocate has already reached the residence of Deshmukh in Malabar Hill at Mumbai. And here is where the team of advocates for the last 1 hour inside the bungalow, that's the Dhaneshwari bungalow in Malabar Hill. Now, Akshita, he has to appear at 11 a.m., the time which has been given by the ED officials to Anil Deshmukh. It will be a very difficult questioning for him. But the most important question is whether Anil Deshmukh will be appearing before the ED or not, because the questioning will be very tough, because ED officials are clearly saying, like you mentioned also, that the money trail has been established, that how the money was taken from the bar owners and then it was diverted to the trust which is owned by Deshmukh and his family members. So they have prepared the whole money trail. His very two close aides are already arrested. So it is going to be a very difficult questioning. The suspense is also there that if Anil Deshmukh appears before ED, whether he will be arrested or not. The BJP is clearly saying that it is inevitable. Deshmukh is sure for going to be arrested, and after that few more ministers and leaders of MVA government will be arrested. But the MVA government leaders are clearly saying that this is a whole political vendetta and BJP is using ED for their purposes.
All right, Saurabh, we'll be tracking the latest on the story. So far, no indication of whether Anil Deshmukh is going to appear or not before the ED. He hasn't previously, but this time around, will he finally respond to the summon remains a question. Thanks, Saurabh, for joining us with all those details. Well, there's more trouble in store for Twitter. This following a controversy over a distorted map of India that appeared on the career section of the microblogging platform's website. Twitter India's managing director, Manish Maheshwari, has been booked after a complaint was filed by a Bajrang Dal leader for showing the wrong map of India. The controversial map on Twitter's website wrongly showed Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as a separate country altogether, triggering massive furor. Now, after this backlash, Twitter removed the distorted map last night from its website, but didn't issue any comment or any clarification on the controversy. This is not the first time that India's map has been misrepresented by Twitter. Earlier, it had shown Leh as being a part of China.
जब मैं ट्विटर चला रहा था तो मेरी जानकारी में आया, एक लिंक खोल करके जब मैंने देखा तो विश्व के नक्शे पर भारत का नक्शा उसमें बना हुआ था, जिसमें से जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख को उन्होंने भारत से अलग दिखाया गया है। ये जानबूझ करके ट्विटर के द्वारा देश विरोधी गतिविधि की गई है। तो इंडिया हेड अमृता त्रिपाठी और मनीष माहेश्वरी जो इसके एमडी हैं, भारत के जो एमडी हैं, उनके खिलाफ और ट्विटर के खिलाफ मुकदमा दर्ज कराया गया है। जल्द से जल्द उनकी गिरफ्तारी हो, ऐसी अपनी मांग है।
ट्विटर की हरकतें जो है ना, वो माप नहीं करने वाली है। वो हिंदुस्तान को चैलेंज कर रहा है, जानबूझकर छेड़ रहा है। वो ये सोचता है कि हिंदुस्तान को हम दबा देंगे। आज वो कुछ भी बता रहा है, कभी लद्दाख को बता रहा है, कभी कश्मीर को बता रहा है। उसके नक्शे से हिंदुस्तान में लद्दाख ना हमसे अलग होने वाला है, ना कश्मीर हमसे अलग होने वाला है। परंतु एक बात है, हम उसको सबक सिखा के रहेंगे।